what are we gonna do about the fucking imperialistic Yankee big dog, huh? What are we gonna do? They come in here, they look around, they take our stuff. What are we gonna... I'm talking to you. Put down the beans. Listen, what are we gonna do? It's kind of Al Pacino from China via Brooklyn. But the... And then what America does, while these people are talking, it very, very gradually builds a Starbucks around them. And then they all become addicted to latte and they lose the will to rebel. And then they turn into Americans. After a couple of weeks, the kind of people who come up to me and say, "Hi, I'm Irish. My grandmother was an O'Flaherty, did you know her?" I always say, yes, I did. But then again, everybody did. Now that's a particular kind of American, obviously, the kind of Americans you see in Europe, who often, for some reason, seem to be very generously proportioned. And you see them in museums, blocking up the exhibits, going, what is this? Can we eat it? Where are we? Can we pee? Where are we? And yet, when you go to America, you see that it's a very, very, because it's so competitive and everything, people are ultra-fashionable and very thin, really. I think the Americans you see in Europe are all the ones who stay in their apartments, get food piped in, and then they're just shipped out to Europe. But the ones over there, you see these amazing-looking people. They don't look real at all, these incredibly exiguous women. You know those people who look like they can't support the weight of their own teeth in their head? Stalking in and out of fashionable restaurants. I don't know what they do in there. Maybe they just rub pesto on their legs or something. And you know, they look like they weigh as much as a photograph of themselves. And very fashion conscious. But people have this idea that it's still the promised land. You know, somewhere like California, which everything is fruitful and abundant. But Arnold Schwarzenegger is the governor of California. There's a perfectly ordinary English sentence. How did that happen? Do you know how that happened? Because I'll tell you. You know how he got into that position? He got there by lifting things. Now you and me, we avoid lifting things. It's unpleasant. Especially heavy things. Even a 5-year-old child knows this. They go, huh? No, fuck it, no. I'm going to put Lego up my arse. I'm not doing that, no. He took a different approach. He lifted the heavy, and you know, you lift something when you have to. Piano falls on Granny. You lift the piano. Because Granny has mixed feelings about the whole situation. Sunday lunch continues. He didn't do any of that. He went right over to the heavy thing and lifted it and put it back down and didn't move it anywhere. And then he lifted it again, hundreds of times, and said to the people who had stopped to observe this aberrant behavior, "Look how good I am at lifting the heavy thing in my underpants." Now that sounds a little dim. But it was they who said, "You're the man. You're the one we want to deal with immigration and water rates and taxes and all that kind of shit." Now, wait. What we need to know is, how bad was his predecessor at that job? You know, this must have been somebody who came to work covered in children's blood every morning. He drives one of these vehicles, you know these things, they're called Hummers, you know? It's like a big four-wheel drive thing. Huge. How small does your cock have to be to make you walk into a car showroom and say, "Listen, I need something the size of a school so people know I'm around"? As if driving wasn't already aggressive enough. You see people behind the wheels of these things. They change, you know, in those big built-up vehicles. You have them here in London, you know, because it's difficult. Obviously, the coffee is on one side of the street and you have to get your newspaper from the other. It's tough, I know. And people change to get behind the wheel of those things. They lose the ability to distinguish between an empty packet of crisps and your children. And Driving is incredibly aggressive. I started to learn recently. I don't know how to drive, and it's fairly pathetic, you know, because I'm 30, nearly 35. It's ridiculous. And then I started getting nervous because I can't swim either, and I thought, you know, what if I crash into a lake? I am fucked. But then you learn very, very quickly that it is mostly about swearing, actually. That's all you're doing, swearing in a box with wheels. Because you don't swear like that with any other activity in your day. You don't allow yourself. It's okay when you're driving for some reason. If somebody blocks you when you're walking, you positively Edwardian in your manners. You do this sheepish little smile together, and you step aside, and you both do it at the same time, and you go, oh, for goodness sake, what a to-do. Oh, dear me. I'll just, oh, we did it again. Do you believe it? I can't believe it. We should be on the stage. One more time, oh, how did we ever get this far as a species? But for some reason, in a car, that becomes, you spunk bucket! From, you know, an 89-year-old church warden. Excuse me, I have something that'll clear up. It might take me with it, but, you know, we'll see. All this aggression is terrible, actually. You see that everywhere. People have, you know, you think you're mad at the other motorist in that case. Probably something else. You know, it's probably something in your own past. Probably, I don't know, mad at your mother or something. That's why you find yourself as a 45-year-old person on the street shouting. There must be a story behind all those people you see mumbling on the street, having those intense conversations that look really, really significant, except nobody else is there. And you know, you're probably mad at something. I don't, because everybody remembers you would be alone in the kitchen, and twilight would be dwindling, and you could hear the far-off cries of the other children playing nearby, and you knew you'd be alone in the kitchen because it was your special treat time where the jelly would come out just for you, and your mother would appear at your side, just this vision of Laura Ashley print dress smelling of magnolias and biscuits, and put the jelly in front of you, and you would pull your chair in, and then the old-fashioned bar of ice cream would come down, the one that had to be cut with a bread knife before the two sides were flanked with wafers. And you would lift your little spoon up excitedly to press it in and winkle out that first divot of black jelly. And then the cage would come down. The cage with the Japanese fighting spiders inside. She would strike a match off her forearm and go and tell you to dance in the front room for money. And you never forget that shit, you know, it never goes away. But this idea of the good life being elsewhere does possess people. And I suppose a lot of people now, because Europe is freed up and everything, people move within Germany. A lot of, within Europe, rather. I mean, I said Germany, but I meant Europe. I don't know why I said Germany, but loads of people did go to Germany, actually. Recently, for the World Cup. A lot of English people went over to make uninformed, prejudicial remarks about German people and Germany. Totally ignorant and bigoted. Know nothing about it, but they feel free to insult it. Because they're English and they're bigoted. And because Germany is a toilet. A truly dreadful place. Nobody ever has any reason to go there. It is a totally dreadful place. And that's just the way it is. Because if you're talking to, you know, a modern... I went there. On the same weekend I went to Australia and California. And it's a... You see, the thing is, you're talking to a modern, nice, affable German person, and they're saying to you something like, you know, well, it's a critical time now for Germany within Europe, also globally. Economically, we're pretty good, we have been better, but we're very vibrant in the theatre and arts and so on. All the time you listen to this, you're thinking, Hitler. There's a Hitler when you did the Hitler thing with Hitler. And Hitler came out, Hitler. And the people look like pork. You can't get away from that. They do. They look like pork scratchings on a towel. And you can't eat the food because you would have to complain about it, and that would mean speaking German. It's a disgusting language. Nobody should ever speak it. Even Hitler was vegetarian. That's how bad the food is. And